Immigration has become the defining challenge of our generation. Communities are under attack because our U.S. policies are pushing people into the shadows. How we respond to this challenge will determine how we are remembered and who we are. That is why Raíces exists.
Raíces is a nonprofit organization that offers legal services to the immigrant community.
The vast majority of our clients have zero resources, and we try to help them pro bono.
We work with people who no one else will work with. We work with people who are in detention, women, children. We work with people who've been detained at the border.
We work with families who are intact. We work with families who've been separated. We work with people whose families have rejected them because they might be transgender. We work with people who come from war zones whose families have all been killed. We try and take every case, and when we do, we see it through until the end.
I look at our clients and I see my own family. I am the product of an immigrant family's journey.
Many of us that work for this organization are immigrants ourselves.
I'm a former refugee from Iraq. I came in 2010. My clients have the same story as mine.
My grandpa was an immigrant from Cuba, and really when I look at my clients, I think of him and I think of the rest of my family.
As someone who came to this country undocumented, I feel privileged and honored that I'm able to do this.
We believe that the Constitution extends to all people in the United States, including immigrants.
We believe that everyone has a right to due process.
We believe that no person is illegal.
We believe that refugees are supposed to be in the United States.
I mean, we believe that families should remain intact, and there's no reason to separate them at the border as punishment.
We're committed to people. We're not committed to parties. We're committed to the people.
We believe that we're all human beings and we deserve to be treated well.
Raíces was founded in 1986 and born from the sanctuary movement, which itself was a response to immigration policies in the early 80s that really made it impossible for Central American refugees to seek protection here in the United States.
It was a two-person office to begin with. We didn't have air conditioning or heat. We were distributing food, clothing, had medical care. We weren't doing visa work until probably around 2000.
When I started at Raíces almost 20 years ago, we were only 3 people, okay? 1 attorney, another legal assistant, and myself.
We've been here for a long time, and yes, we've met each crisis as it's come.
We just need to keep growing and growing because there is a lot of people out there that needs our help.
We have a family detention program. We prepare people for their credible fear interviews.
We're in the detention centers every day, talking to our clients, hearing their stories.
We have a children's program. We provide legal presentations for the children's rights.
Children need representation while they're still in detention. Otherwise, they would go to court alone.
We have community immigration services, which can range from renewing an application for DACA to applying for citizenship to applying for a visa on behalf of a crime victim.
We have a refugee resettlement program.
We help them to adjust into this country. We help them with housing and food and medical.
But also when they move to other cities in this country and need continuing services.
It's really about creating those partnerships with the community to make sure that our new community members feel welcome and safe and protected.
Last year I was almost deported, and Raíces came in, and without knowing anything about me, they helped me, and I don't think I would be there if Raíces hadn't helped.
I hope that one day our clients can be able to walk out on the street without a fear in their hearts. I want to be able to have a country where we can welcome asylum-seeking families in a system that isn't designed for them to fail.
They're a grassroots kind of organization that helps the community at the most basic level. They went out of their way to help me, and because of them, I'm able to keep going to school. I'm able to keep the life that my dad brought me here to build.
When you work at Raíces, you actually get to witness our nation being born anew. Every time we work with a client, you're literally watching the beginning moments of one of those stories that we hear about. We talk about our forefathers. We actually work with people who will be the mothers and fathers of the future generation of Americans.
The most patriotic people that I've ever met are new immigrants. The most ambitious people, the most qualified people. These are the best people that their countries are sending. Why would you want to close the door on that?
We've been doing this work for more than 30 years. We were here before. We're here now, and we're not going anywhere.
And hello everyone, and welcome back to 50 hours of fundraising for Raíces, Texas. Oh my God, Deadeye just donated $100 as we came back in live. That is insanity! Thank you, Deadeye, for the amazing donation and getting this stream off. Brendan Such with $100. What is happening? We're getting attacked with amazing donations. Oh my God. So first of all, you're both gonna get 2 free PDFs. You're both going to be able to give 2 people an advantage, essentially, because I don't know the system, of the GM's choice. Two players will get advantages of the GM's choice throughout the game. You just broke my heart and into a million pieces, because we're here today to talk about immigration justice and the increasingly nationalistic policies of our government and how we work against them. And one of the best ways to do that is to put money into grassroots organizations that do the work on the front lines of the immigration crisis, getting people out of detention centers, reuniting families, ensuring that paperwork happens, ensuring that all the legal hoops are jumped through that are built to be purposefully arcane and that turn real human beings into statistics to be degraded by our government. So that's why we're here, to get money to Raíces, Texas, so they can do the good work in Texas and across the country that needs to be done for 10 million people in this country who are here undocumented. Because I think they believe, like we believe, that people are people and an immigrant is never illegal. And so I just hope you'll join us in sharing the love. If you can't donate, share links, share tweets. We put one out at the beginning of every game. You can also... if you buy Die Laughing on any version of Die Laughing right now on Drive-Thru RPG through the end of the charity stream, half of the proceeds from that PDF will be going to Raíces, Texas as well, along with all the money you see here. And the reason we're using Tiltify is because we believe that money should be funneled directly to the organization and not through us, and so you have a clean transparency of how the money's getting moving. So with that, we have like 6 giveaways to do. So let's do that. I'm gonna stop being serious for a second, and I'm gonna close this giveaway. And boy howdy, do we have a bunch of stuff to give away before we get started on Sigmata. So we are going to start by giving away a 2-month Sirenscape Super Siren subscription to Cellardor 10. Oh, congrats, Cellardor. DM me. I may already have your email address. Just DM me again because it keeps the paperwork moving properly. So congratulations. You're getting a 2-month Sirenscape Super Siren subscription. Our next winner is Smalltown 15's getting a $20 Modifius gift certificate. And yes, you still get to win if you won before. It's all random. So I will make sure to get you your code for that. The next person... Scarlet Clarinet is going to get the handmade soap bundle by our very own Michi from the Monster and Mayhem Soap Factory, deep in the bowels of Michi's apartment. The next one is going to be a Die Hard dice bundle by Sonic. You won the real physical math cubes. Congratulations. I'll get your mailing address. The next one is a $20 Hero Forge gift card. Nerdy Teddy got the Hero Forge gift card. I love seeing that. And then last but not least, the Die Laughing hardcover PDF combo by Craig Campbell, which you actually just watched a game of. So let's check it out. Who wins? 2 Hocus. Congratulations, 2 Hocus. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to Chad. I'm going to get the hell out of your way unless these people play their game. Everybody who won, I'm going to follow up with you right now. And Chad, game's all yours.
Hey, everybody. I know you want us to do introductions quick. I'm Chad. I wrote Sigmata. I'll be playing it for the gang today. I'm really happy to be here and be part of this. You know, for those who have the means to help, this is like real material solidarity with folks that need it. This isn't like a hot take or anything like that. If you have the ability to help, this is a big deal. So I'm really grateful to be here. Anybody else?
Hey everybody, I am CapJack, or at CapJack Cross on the Twitters, and seriously, thank you all for being here, helping us raise money for Raíces, Texas. I am a third-generation immigrant. My family came here escaping pogroms in Russia, so immigration is pretty fucking near and dear to my heart. So, yeah, thank you so much for helping to make it so that people like me can continue to exist. Like, seriously, thank you.
Oh my God. So hi, I'm Michi. I grew up with a lot of friends whose parents had immigrated, some whose parents had not, were undocumented and had all sorts of problems from that. And so this is also something that touches me a lot. And it is an honor to be able to help in whatever way I can.
What's up, everybody? My name is Don. Also, third-generation immigrant, got family coming from both Mexico and Italy. Like, I wouldn't be here at all. My family would not be here at all if people were being treated like they are now in this country. A lot of us would not be here if this shit was going on. Anything you could do to help out, anything you can do to support this. Fuck fascism. People are born to be free.
And to round us all out, hi everyone, I'm Christine, aka Crafty Scythe. You can find me on the Twitterverse as that. I am very happy to be playing games and helping support Raíces and all of this, because whenever I hear the news, I get pissed off and my heart breaks. And why not take that and use that as fuel to try and do some good, because wallowing in helplessness doesn't do anything. So share those links, donate if you're able to. Let's punch things, guys. Y'all.
Okay, on that note, we're going to kick off the game. Throck, I don't know if you're actually showing the Roll20 screen or whatever.
Oh, I am. Oh, yes.
I'm on a computer where I can't do like two things at once. So anyway, excellent. So is it currently showing the images of the desert and the border wall?
It's got just the roller section.
Just the what section?
Just the dice roller. We won't have the images.
Oh, you won't have images? Okay. Well, sounds good. Well, anyway, I won't bother with talking too much about the imagery I'm showing. I'll talk more about it conceptually. So right now I'm showing images actually just to myself. I guess I'm looking at images of some border wall stuff and kind of the setting where this will be taking place. So this is actually going to be taking place somewhere in New Mexico, actually, right near where the tip of Texas touches New Mexico. It's going to be basically in some uncontrolled, quasi-controlled land on both sides of the U.S. and Mexico border. The other series of images I was going to show to sort of ground folks in what we're going to be talking about here before we introduce the characters is sort of the adversary in this short session we'll be doing today. And basically, it's a bunch of images from various militias. The images we're looking at and using were actually taken from PBS documentaries and Mother Jones articles and such. And I wanted to just sort of talk about the ideology and kind of what some of these folks are up to. Specifically, this session is going to be about some of the militia types that are actually these weekend warrior types that go to defend the border from what they call, quote, invaders. There's some important things to know about these folks. One, even though they dress in all the military regalia and all the crap and have all the tactical gear and do all the stuff, some of them are ex-military, obviously, but a lot of them aren't. They're just LARPing. So while we're here today, actually, like role-playing, some like resistance or quasi-military stuff, like in the comfort of our own homes, these guys go out and they actually have nicknames for each other. Like one guy's called like Blood Agent, one guy's called Destroyer, one guy's called Kill Zone. So we're here talking about like the cool names that our receivers and our agents have. These dudes are doing this stuff in real life, first of all. So it's kind of silly. Second of all, they're frequently not actually people who live on either side of the border. Sometimes they are, but usually they aren't. Frequently, they're coming from northern states like Idaho and Montana and sometimes Oregon. And they're driving down to basically do their LARPing. And most of the time, what they're doing is they're destroying these caches of water and other supplies that humanitarian groups and NGOs are leaving to allow immigrants to cross the border safely. Because who knows what they're trying to escape from or whatnot, but they deserve to at least not die in the desert of starvation, right? So these guys will go and destroy those. Sometimes they'll brag to each other about maybe they shot somebody or maybe they were hunting somebody or whatever, but it's kind of uncertain, the stats on what's really happening out there. And once again, they're not local to that place. They're from a different part that is bringing violence with them. They use the terminology and the language of the defender, we're defending the country. But, just like the fascists and the Nazis and the Proud Boys that don't live in Portland and come to Portland, they bring violence with them. And then ultimately the cops protect them because that's kind of what they do. But it's the same thing. They use the language of like defending something, but they're the ones that are actually sort of invading and bringing violence with them. So that's sort of like I wanted to give a preamble on some of these militia types. I'll have a caveat that not all, quote, militia types are necessarily these right-wing imposters who talk about liberty but end up loving the cops and loving the border and loving authoritarians. There are groups that defy that and resist that, but in the U.S. anyway, most of the groups are these kind of like right-wing, LARPing, quasi-paramilitary authoritarians. So we're going to be dealing with these groups today. So that is sort of I wanted to cover the adversary. But first, let's talk about our heroes. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to introduce our heroes one by one. So just kind of give a brief discussion of like what they look like, what they act like, maybe why they joined the cause of the resistance, and maybe why they're in New Mexico. And then once we do that, we're going to actually be discussing what each character, how they feel about the other characters, because this relationship mechanic is actually going to come into play in dramatic fashion while we play. So who would like to go first?
Yes, we can start in the same order that we did introductions with. Also, we now have images on the stream, by the way. Let's see. So I today will be playing Witness. Chad just talked about those paramilitary LARPers. Witness was raised by those. Their whole childhood was spent, going to camps and learning how to shoot and blow stuff up and fuck the government, except, just to make it more fascist. And they were on track to become part of the Fist, the regime's heavy soldiers. And then they came out as gay, and that went real fucking poorly. They were able to fortunately escape the re-education, and by the help of the Signal, when they became a receiver. Since then, they've worked with other like queer militia members to fight back against the people that trained them, and just do everything they can to just bash those fucking fash.
Oh, sorry. So I am playing Elliot Ward. He is a native kid, tends to wear black leather a lot, has a faded motor club patch on his jacket. Can I help you? He was raised off the reservation, adopted by some white parents, as you do. Kind of had to get away from that, joined Motor Club Defined Community, so ended up spending a lot of time running from authority. But he didn't quite find the community he wanted, but the resistance is offering him the things that he is looking for, and also a chance to fight back. Yeah.
Okay. Today I will be playing Liberty, real name Valerie Winters. Liberty saw her grandfather, who she looks up to greatly, go through both World War II and the Korean War. And while Grandpa saw fascists and communists alike as decidedly un-American, as things got worse and worse and worse under the atrocities of the regime, he started to tell Val that maybe what we're doing is pretty fucking un-American too. Val's grandfather was killed as one of the original old men, a faction of old veterans that tried originally to resist the regime, but were bombed. And that was pretty much all it took for Valerie to take up the name Liberty, get together with a bunch of other wilderness survival types in the Adirondacks that she had been trained to hunt and fish and trap along those mountains and valleys. And they formed a militia. But it wasn't long before the militia was contacted by the resistance proper. And while some of them thought that it might be better to just sit there and hold on to the small parts of New York and New England that they could, Valerie knew that that's not going to work out. The only way that we stop this is by stopping it nationally. And so she grabbed her gun and she shipped off with resistance headquarters.
I'd like to add a caveat that Don almost always plays anarcho-commies in every other session. So this is sort of a stretch goal for him to embrace this persona. Just want to add that. Okay, and
Thank you.
Who's next?
All right, so I will be playing Hellfire tonight. Pronouns are she, they. When you first look at her, she just kind of looks like this quiet nerd in glasses. Went to college a few hours away from home, kind of get away from parents who were very restrictive. Like grandma would tell her stories about her uncle and grandfather who fought in the war, but had to do it in secret because parents forbade of Hellfire hearing of those stories. But while on campus, the fist appeared and mayhem broke out. Their partner somehow, she doesn't understand, disappears and all that. And during that fight is when she heard the signal and started punching all of them. And she's been on the run since and is just doing what she can to fight and find any information she can on her partner.
What about civility, guys? Anyway, I'm just joking. Let's. So we're gonna. Let's see here. I gotta find the right screen where we're gonna start. And we're going to jump right into the action after a very quick preamble. Let me know if you can see the screen here. So the last thing we're going to do before we jump into the scene, and I tell you like exactly in medias res where the characters are and what they're doing, I would like for you to very quickly, each of you, go through. We're going to do the same order we did last time. And I want you to articulate what your relationship is to the other characters. Tell us if they are your comrade, your rival, your crush, your grudge. See you guys. Your inspiration, your ward, your curiosity, and yeah, just quickly, one sentence each, please, just so for time.
All right, so for Witness, he sees Liberty as a comrade. Witness knows that Liberty will always have his back, bar none. Witness sees Elliot as a crush. He's one of the brave ones that lived on his own terms, and the motorcycle and leather jacket definitely didn't hurt the first impression. And Witness sees Hellfire as a curiosity. Just what was it like having a normal life? Can you do what you wanted? I get the second part when everything's taken away from you, but what was it like before that?
Elliot sees Liberty as a rival. They push each other to do better, be better, fight harder. He sees Witness as a curiosity, because how do you live your life as out loud as you do? And he sees Hellfire as an inspiration, because even though they have had all of their happiness ripped from them, they're still fighting, they still have hope.
Liberty sees Witness as an inspiration. That's one hell of an upbringing to break away from. And it would have been really easy for Witness to have just gone to ground and not join this fight. But not only did Witness join, but they're on the front lines together. And that's fucking inspiring. Liberty sees Elliot as a comrade. On this squad, they're the only two that have not heard the signal. They are just regular human beings. And so while they are not augmented, together they are one hell of a fire team. And Liberty sees Hellfire as a ward. Liberty wants to protect Hellfire because while Liberty thinks that with her upbringing, all she knows how to do is fight and be a soldier. And as part of this war, she knows that she's going to take a lot of lives. But she thinks that people like Hellfire are going to be around to help restore those lives once this fight is done. And they need to live.
Hellfire sees Liberty as their comrade. Both grew up on stories from or about a grandparent that fought in the war, so they knew that what the state's been telling them isn't 100% true. She relies on Liberty's resolve to keep fighting and the skills that they have, because you can always learn more skills to keep fighting. Hellfire sees Witness as an inspiration, happy to fight beside him, but holy hell, can he find information? And boy, is that useful. Hellfire also sees Elliot as a comrade, values the authority dodging skill because it's one that it's really hard to learn, at least for her. And his search for community, that hope of finding one is a good flame, a hope to have, and hopes to help in finding that community.
Okay, thank you all for doing that, and that will be relevant while we play. It's not just for role-playing game purposes, it is for actually doing some pretty cool things during structured scenes. Okay, can everybody see the evasion scene I have set up here on the Roll20?
Yeah, I got you here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And I don't know if we're going to have it go a full 3 points, but anyway, let's talk about like what's happening here. So currently, your small fire team is about a mile away from a facility called the Lodge. The Lodge is a really big ranch house that's owned by a rancher named Earl Brady. So it's been reported by some resistance sympathizers that are kind of in this region. Primarily maybe some folks that are part of gun clubs or shooting ranges that aren't aligned with the regime, and they sort of serve as agents and spies in regime-controlled places. But they've talked about this group called the Lodge, who has been sending, they've been receiving and hosting all these weekend warriors from different places, primarily northern states again, and they're causing a lot of trouble. There's accusations that they're doing illegal stuff. There's accusations that they're maybe destroying and sabotaging some of the like other ranchers' lands and stuff that are going around here, whether it's like cattle dying or fences being broken or whatever. And then there's like these dark whispers that, you know, they're bragging and laughing about like hunting people for sport, that they're, you know, they're defending the country, but like there's something really twisted going on with these folks. Nothing has been corroborated, but it's really fishy. Obviously, they can't go to the police because the police love these guys. Generally speaking, they have a tenuous relationship with the sheriff of a place, and they certainly don't like to pay the tax man, but generally speaking, they love the cops. So there's not a lot of willingness to for the law enforcement to investigate them. As far as they're concerned, the regime is doing the work that they don't have the manpower to do. So it's really up to the resistance to investigate and maybe neutralize this area. Some other things that are going on is Earl Brady has a promising political career. You know, he's a local person with a big personality. He likes to go on some of the AM political radio shows and talk about stuff. And honestly, the more he spins up this like a feeling of violence and chaos on the border, the more it's making some of his neighbors sell their land to Earl Brady. So he's like actually buying up land as they leave the chaos. And then meanwhile, this narrative that all these bad guys are coming in, invading the country and creating violence, even though it's the militias creating the violence, that also, it supports the regime. So there's this really symbiotic relationship of having this narrative of violence really reinforcing virtually all the bad guys of the world. So yeah, it's basically up to your squad to infiltrate and potentially neutralize this place. However, the lodge is a really big ranch house, and think of it as a giant militia compound where all these militias come in and stay. And they stay for free. They have this benefactor who is, you know, basically making a killing off of buying all this land and whatnot. And all these guys are just like volunteers. And, you know, they don't even know or care if it's a grift, but they're showing up, they're bringing their guns, they're doing all their stuff, training, drilling, whatever. So massive ranch house, you're about a mile away. And if you look at the evasion sheet, you'll actually see the nav points that the group has to traverse to actually get close enough to where you're near the facility, like right on the exterior, about to kick in the doors or jump in the windows and do your thing. So there's like a number of like obstacles. Now, I think what I'm going to do, because we don't have time to play a super long scene, I'm going to get rid of the first waypoint and then move all the others up. And then give me a second while I move the little buttons, because sometimes in Roll20, it's very difficult to actually grab the little doohickeys and move them where you want to. Not that I don't love that platform and don't think you all shouldn't buy it or whatever. That's my only marketing there. Oh, it's really hard to grab the things. Okay, so if you look below the radio dial thing, you're going to see these 4 trackers. Okay, and there's going to be a red tracker that has like 1 through 10 or higher, and that's where I'm going to be moving the little red square box next to your name. And then below that, there's a little blue dot that's sitting at start, and then it looks like it can go 1, 2 boxes over. So you want to get the blue thing 2 boxes over, and then you basically win the scene. Well, you each have to do it, basically. So what does this actually mean? Like, what are we looking at here? Well, the tracker of 1 through 10, where I move the red box, so I'm going to be moving it this way, you know, as we play. If anybody ends a turn with their danger, that's what this is, it's danger. If anybody ends a turn with their danger at 10 or more, you've been caught and your entire squad has been caught, okay? So what's actually increasing the danger? The danger is going to be things like security controls, CCTV cameras, roaming sentries, guard dogs on the property that are maybe getting your scent, okay? So while you're trying to make progress, you also have to keep your danger down. So how does somebody keep their danger down in a stealth scene? Well, you hide somewhere and wait for the sentry to walk by. You hide somewhere when the spotlights are swinging by, looking through the trees. You tiptoe so you can sneak up on the sentry before dismantling them. Maybe you make a racket to distract one of the guards so one of your friends can sneak through and they don't get caught. So that's sort of what we're doing in an evasion scene, is we're trying to get everybody into position without getting caught. It's going to take a lot of teamwork to do it. So with that being said, we're going to kick off the scene. So in Sigmata, the game master always starts. And if you look at the top right of the sheet, you see it says alarm 3. So that's like the level of danger for an evasion scene. So all 3 characters, they're going to go up at 3 by 3, danger. Oops. Let's try this again. I'm both in a house I don't live at and on a machine that I rarely use. So it's going to take a little bit of finessing here, so bear with me. Also, if I, in great frustration, start swearing at my computer, it's not because of you, it's me. Okay, so everybody's danger went up 3. Well, what caused it? Well, it's the fact that you're on this perimeter of this lodge. It's heavily forested and there's gravel roads, but there's barbed wire everywhere. You actually see ahead of you, you see some spotlights sort of scanning the property. They're not really close to you right now, but they will be. And also there's like whinnying horses and stuff, because this is like a big ranch. So there's different animals. So there's this sense of like, even though we're under the cover of darkness, if we stay still for too long or make any mistakes, we might get caught. And we know these guys have a bunch of guns in there, so that'd be bad, at least until we can get the drop on them. It is now the player's turn. I'm going to have Liberty go, just because Don has a lot of experience playing this game. And so, Don, I'm going to have you actually methodically explain what your character is doing as you're acting.
Okay. Liberty takes point on the fire team, putting up a fist real quick to signal to the others to slow and stop as she observes the scene. After taking in everything, the perimeter, the horses, the forestation, could possibly use that for cover. She is actually going to try and rush at first, thinking that we need to get in here as quickly as we possibly can. So rushing is an aggressive tactic. It will increase her danger by 3, but no matter what she rolls, she always gets 3 additional progress on whatever it is that we're trying to achieve. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the roll for that now. Her current rush rating is a 2, so she always rolls 5 dice. So 2 of those will be D10s, the rest will be D6s. And a pretty decent roll, actually. Not only does she make a killer amount of progress, I see 3 successes there. No, she does not have a passage, so that's fine. However, I think that she will use a tactic here. Tactics are the special abilities that partisans have. Receivers have powers from the Sigmata once the signal is up, but partisans, as normal, regular people, are just trained to do things or know how to do things really, really well. So she's going to use her survival tactic. She will take 2 points of fatigue and increase her amount of successes by 2 as well, as she reads the features of the terrain and is able to use that to try and break up where line of sight of search parties and cameras might be. And then instead of moving herself, she is actually going to point to Elliot and point out a course of action that she thinks will put Elliot in a further position closer to the lodge. So instead of moving my progress, I can actually move Elliot's progress up instead. So Elliot goes from the start to nav point 1. But in doing so, I have exposed myself to a little bit of danger. And by taking that lead position, it's possibly that Liberty finds herself closer to enemy patrols than she might otherwise like.
Thank you for doing that. Now, Don was super methodical and super verbose about what he was doing for the purposes of training. And ultimately, what Sigmata and games that are built on the same chassis look like is you pick a tactic, you roll your die, and then depending on what your roll says, you really own the narrative or the game master owns the narrative. So if you get a bunch of successes, I want you to do all the talking. Tell the story about how much your character is a ninja, you know, climbing a tree or hopping behind a sentry and snapping their neck, or like, you know, be that hero you want your character to be. But if you do poorly, I get to tell the story and add elements of stress and tension and so on and so forth. One thing I'll add to Don there does anybody consider Liberty a rival?
That would be me.
So your rival relationship is now stoked, or it's like triggered. And the reason it was triggered is you just saw Liberty get 3 successes. So that is the trigger for that relationship. And she clearly looks so competent and so quick and so fast, or something about what she's doing is making you angry or making you feel like you have to keep up. So if you want, for whatever you decide to do, you can use that relationship and just get free 5 successes and then sort of incorporate how you feel about Liberty in your narrative.
All right.
So would you like to use that relationship first of all?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Would you like to do it to make cautious progress using sneak, or maybe reckless progress using rush?
I think we're going to do cautious progress with sneak.
Okay. Another alternative tactic is you can actually reduce Liberty's exposure or Liberty's danger, because she is at 6 now, so you could reduce her to 1 if you wanted to really show her up while also protecting her. So those are 3 things you can consider.
So I feel like because of the way that Liberty has sat there and like pointed out ways to get in and ways to get closer, Elliot would probably kind of start sneaking around, kind of scouting around the area, trying to do better than that and find better places for more people to get in. But just generally kind of moving around, checking it out, moving a little bit closer.
Okay. So as we see, I've been turning this radio dial thing, and every time it passes 5, 10, 15, or 20, and it'll keep spinning, but every time it passes one of those variables of 5, that gives your team a victory point, which is one of these blue dots down here. So do you want your character to move forward, or do you want to push another character forward? I'd actually maybe suggest helping out a comrade.
Yeah, I would. I'm definitely going to try to push someone forward. Gonna try to push Witness forward because he can grab more information the closer he gets and help figure out more ways to get in there.
Okay. So on your character sheet, do you have, are you playing a receiver or a partisan?
Partisan.
Okay. Do you have any trainings that are under evasion? So things that would help your sneak roll?
Let me... I have Mouse, Killer Instinct, and Lucky. Don't know if any of those would help.
And so those are talents. There's also the trainings, the ones that...
training, right. Yep. No, I don't have any of those.
Okay, no problem. And I'm going to be asking that of folks just so they can make sure they're using all their like special powers and stuff. But anything else you'd like to add to your narrative before we pass it to the next player?
I do have a library for sneak.
Okay, but we didn't roll any dice?
We didn't roll any dice.
Yep, so all good. But thank you for remembering.
All right. But yeah,
Okay.
that's all I got.
Who's next?
I guess that's going to be Witness. So Liberty has led the way and like showed us a great way to get where we need to go. Elatine has like assisted with that. I think what Witness is going to do is use that lane that they both created for him and use it to sneak up so that he can take over point from Liberty and start using some of those awesome receiver abilities to really start really getting a better sit rep for everything and figure out where all the pitfalls are going to be in this particular area. So let's see, I think I would want to use sneak for that. Then I also have a blade of sonic sight. That would be like a combination for deny. So like the idea would be to get up to the wall and then use that sonic sight to start seeing where everyone is so that I can prevent them from seeing any of us.
Cool. Narratively, I'll just explain to the audience that sonic sight allows a receiver, who is this cybernetic superhero, to sort of get audio telemetry of everything, whether it's footfalls or heartbeats or breathing, and sort of like visually in their eyeballs map out where those bad guys are. But yeah, go ahead and make your roll, and then we'll see what your narrative looks like.
And that's a roll with sneak, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So you got 2 successes. But that did give you, it pushed you up to 15 on the radio dial. So that did give you a victory point. Do you want to move yourself forward?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and narrate that cool, action scene. And again, you can always use the language that's on top of the tracker. So you were on the lodge perimeter before. It was heavily forested, gravel roads, barbed wire. And now you're entering that area that is the lodge property. And now you have the spotlights. You maybe have some alarms that are set on the barbed wire that are tension. So if you cut them, they go off. And maybe there are sentries with radios and towers nearby, and maybe some sniper rifles. So, tell me, kind of incorporate that into your narrative as you make progress.
So as he's moving up, Witness is like doing lots of hand gestures towards Liberty, Elatine, and Hellfire. Basically like step here, don't step here. What else can I use? He does have a radio as a peripheral. So maybe could also be using that to like listen in, to be tuning into the ranch's frequency, like really low to kind of keep an eye on or listen for code words and check-ins and things like that, getting that timing down. Yeah, what they're going to be doing is they're going to start moving forward. They're going to... Things that I have. All right. Yeah, so mostly I think they're going to be starting to keep a really close eye on those sentries to be making sure that nobody's getting spotted. So using the combination of the sight and additional audio cues from the radio to kind of pinpoint where everyone's looking and things like that.
Cool. Thank you for doing that. And finally, Hellfire, what are you up to? If we look at the sheet, the people are making steady progress. We see that Liberty's danger is a little high, but we know that the alarm is only 3, so they won't get in trouble and get sniped or caught next turn. So with that information, what would you like to do?
Hellfire would definitely be extra cautious if she'd be wanting to sneak around, but her goal would be, while everyone is starting to slowly make their progress, she'd like to be in a tree to keep an eye out for anyone from the lodge getting close to them so she can make a quick signal to let them know.
Okay, so it sounds like you want to be in a support role?
Yes.
Okay, so the tactic for that would be deny. So by deny, we mean, deny access to your characters.
Okay.
Deception and denial to distract them or whatever. But it sounds like you're serving as a scout to make sure that your allies are covered. So what is your deny skill rating?
2.
Okay. Do you have any blades that support an evasion scene?
The only one that fits is one that would be used with sneak, which is the mute gyros.
Okay, sounds good. So what you're going to do is roll 2d10 plus 3d6. It's not the best roll you have, but it's good to demonstrate to the audience maybe what a risky roll looks like. Hey, you still got 2 successes. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce liberties. I assume you want to reduce liberties exposure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm reducing liberties danger by 2. So liberties down to 4. But I want you to go ahead and narrate what that looks like. And you can feel free to take control of liberties character as part of your narrative. Like, say, I give them the single and they respond because I point out this or whatever. So again, assume game master role basically as you're telling the story.
Okay, so once the signal for us to stop was given, she'd find a good tree to kind of scurry up to keep lookout as everyone else starts making their progress forward. But while she's giving a lookout and keeping track of like the gravel road and anyone coming from the lodge, she gives a signal to Liberty to move a bit far, like move inward more, to get a bit farther away from the road so as to not be seen, kind of help out with that. But she's kind of like up in a tree, like if it was a crow's nest, kind of giving a lookout.
Okay, awesome. Was that everybody? Yes.
Yes, it was.
Guess what? Everybody's exposure goes up 3 again. So you see that things are starting to heat up. Everybody's exposure is at 6, except for Liberty, who is at 7, but that's not as bad as she would have been. In Sigmata, as scenes progress, the temperature keeps increasing. The heat keeps increasing. In an evasion scene, it's the likelihood of someone getting caught. In combat, it's the likelihood of someone being injured or killed. In an intrigue scene, it's the likelihood that someone loses their temper, freaks out, maybe blows in a negotiation. So everybody's heat is rising. And as a team, you need to make progress as a team, but also make sure that you're keeping sort of the temperature down. So now that half the party is, or actually 3 out of 4 of the party is in that lodge property with the spotlights going, they're now in a spot where not only are they trying to make progress sticking to the shadows, but there are the spotlights that are kind of like droning through slowly that they have to dodge. And they actually see that those sentries on the radio towers, not radio towers, on the towers with radios, they actually do have sniper rifles. So this could be a very dangerous situation. One, they might shoot, but chances are good that they would radio somebody inside the facility and they would be on high alert. So keep that drama in mind as I now hand it back to the players. What are you all doing? And you can go in any order you like. So,
I'll have Liberty take point again. Realizing that things are getting a little heated and that she is falling behind, which is not very acceptable to her, she will start sneaking forward to keep her danger low while still trying to make some progress. So let's see, I have a 4 in my sneak tactic, so let's see if that pans out for me. Okay, not good, actually. I have no successes and I have a botch. That's a -1. And I do not have any peripherals on my sneak tactic, which would be able to convert that 1 into a success, nor do I have any training as a partisan that could make this better. So Liberty fucks up.
Now, would you like to buy your way out of that with a talent, even though you know it would be 1 more expensive fatigue?
Shit, do I want to save that for later or no? You know what? We're not in absolute critical danger just yet. So no, I'm not going to use a talent on this. I will just accept the failure.
Okay. So because Don rolled 0 or less successes, I get to tell the story instead of him and Liberty. So Liberty, after going super reckless, just going ham last round, starting to get a little less cocky and maybe kind of like creeping. And I guess she's used to being a little more aggressive because she basically trips over her own feet at some point. Or maybe it was like a leash that was like left outside because there's a bunch of barnyard animals and stuff. Either way, she trips up and kind of has her leg stuck. And she's in a spot where she could get out and make a horrible racket, or she could slowly get herself out as a spotlight creeps towards her on the ground. So who's next?
Let me interject real quick that while this really sucked for me, both, let's see, it's a Witness and Hellfire, I believe, see Liberty as a comrade. So yes. Now both of their relationships have triggered, and they can each spend just immediately 5 successes on whatever their next action is. So while I fuck things up, my allies are now even better trying to help me out, or just the team out.
Yep. So who would like to go?
I think Witness would want to jump in on that one. So, let me see. So, Witness is watching and sees Liberty trip up and is like, fuck. And they...
But quietly. You say it quietly. Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Really? Come on. All right. But, I mean, they got to get over there and help. So what they want to do is, I guess, deny the ability of the spotlight to see Liberty. Oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do. So Witness is going to kind of haul ass over there and scoop up Liberty and bring him into, and like up against the wall into safety.
Okay, are you spending a relationship to get automatic 5 success? Okay, then you totally own the narrative. So don't even explain what you're trying to do. Just tell us what you do, and then tell me how it impacts the sheet. Like, are you reducing her danger or something, or?
Yes. So basically, yeah, runs over there, scoops up, like pops up against the wall as the spotlight goes by, and it's just like, come on. Like pulls the leash off around her feet, like slaps her on the shoulder. Head in the game, comrade. And yeah, reduce danger.
And you both split before the spotlight tears through.
Yes.
And identifies you. Awesome.
Liberty snaps off a very quick salute for the help before moving up to take position again.
Okay. And then you all see on the sheet, Liberty is now safer than the rest of you, but also has made the least progress. So who's next?
While my cat meows in the background, Liberty's going, not Liberty. I'm staring at people's names and getting everyone mixed up. Hellfire's going to climb down out of the tree to sneak through the path that she watched the others take to get as close to the lodge, if not into it, as she can.
Okay, make your sneak roll.
Or again, you do have a relationship triggered. If you want just the 5 successes, you can just take them.
She should save it. That character is very good at sneak, and it'll be a chance to show off a blade too.
We do like blades.
Okay, so I'm counting 3 successes. So this is a dramatic success. So I'm going to turn it over to you to tell a story of you being awesome. But also, I'd like you to incorporate, it sounds like you had the mute gyros.
Mm-hmm.
And can you explain what they do, or can you read what they do on your sheet?
I can bring it up quick to explain it.
Sure.
But on my sheet, what I have written down is it helps with progress per success when sneak tactic is used, and it also reduces danger 1 per success.
Yep.
And it does that. Basically, joints are looser, so it's a lot easier to kind of move and think parkour, but silent.
Exactly. It's basically like ninja hands and feet and joints. And so, long story short, what that blade allows Hellfire to do is make progress sneaking forward, but they do so like such a badass ninja that they're also simultaneously reducing their own danger. So go ahead. Now that you know that, tell us that awesome story.
Well, since it's parkour but silent, going to slide down a tree a bit, and then as they are descending and to get closer, they're going to start jumping between tree and tree as they descend down to the ground before tumbling when they reach the ground, and a silent run to where her comrades are.
Awesome. And I think last we have Elotine.
Yes. Elotine. I'm trying to decide which move would work better. So seeing all of these spotlights and the towers and knowing that there's probably radios up there and we don't want to get caught, Elotine is going to look around and find the best, like, kind of hiding spots for people to jump between. To just kind of give us a little bit more cover. That's the word. So I want to use, I think, deny.
Yeah, you can deny. I would say look at the sheet. You'll see the next round, a couple of your comrades are going to go up to 9. So they can still survive another round. So you're not in an emergency situation. So this might be a situation where you actually want to make progress for somebody. Like maybe do either sneak or rush, but then maybe pull Liberty up to where the rest of the crew is or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's try rush. Just kind of run through and no, we're gonna do sneak. Take it a little bit more cautiously.
Okay, because you see, I just increased your to 9, which would be that it would go over. But yeah, good call.
That was a bad idea.
No, not bad. It would just mean next round would be very tense.
It'd be risky.
Yeah,
but risky is not bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So roll your sneak then.
All right.
Oh damn! Do you have a peripheral?
I sure do.
Oh shit!
Do you have an evasion library?
I also do. Yes.
Oh my
Holy
god!
Shit!
So that you just rolled 7 successes, which is outrageous. Because if you look at the sheet or the radio dial, you just scored 2 hits, which means you can push these blue dots. You can push 2 of them.
Oh.
Which means you can actually act so meticulously. You could either lead Liberty out of the scene entirely, or push you and another comrade out of the scene entirely. So be a complete, unbelievable ninja badass, whatever you tell the story.
So.
And incorporate your peripheral into the story because you used it.
So Elliot, has a lot of good leather going on, and most important thing is their boots. They're very nice leather, very soft. They're very quiet. So she is able to move around this property and spotlight breaches in the perimeter, figure out where the spotlights aren't able to really get to. And using that, she is going to lead Liberty from the perimeter. And just kind of lead her through all of these little holes that she found and kind of point out how to get to the exterior and get into position.
So you're going to push Liberty all the way through?
Yeah.
Wow. That's aggressive, and Liberty's going to hate that.
A little bit appreciative, but still very much not happy.
Okay, so what that means, by the way, is Liberty is now at like ghoul or safety or in position. Next round, Liberty won't be participating in the scene. So the scene's going to get much shorter. The rounds are going to be quicker. So now it's going to be about everybody else has to get out and quick. And if an emergency happens, don't worry. You have some tricks up your sleeve that I'm saving. Was that everybody this round?
Yes, it was.
And also, if anyone has me as an inspiration, they will get that relationship triggered because I invoked a library.
Yes, you did. And you got over 3 successes, so if they consider you a rival, too. That was a fantastic roll.
Damn.
Oops.
Okay, so we now know Liberty is up against the building, maybe either near a door she's about to kick in or a window she's about to slide up, probably checking her magazines, making sure they all have bullets in them and stuff, ready to go. But the rest of you still need to traverse this yard with all these spotlights coming. Tension's hot. If you look at the danger, we have 2 characters at 9. That means next turn, we're going to have 2 people jumping up to 12 danger. So we want to try to finish the scene as hard as we can. If I can make a recommendation looking at your scores here, I would encourage Hellfire to rush, because what that means is that's going to bump you up to 9, but maybe you'll get enough progress to bump you and somebody else out of the scene.
Yeah, let's do that.
Then again, you're so good at that other roll. You're so good at the sneaky roll that maybe you want to just keep doing that. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Resistance doesn't win by being cautious. I'm just saying.
I mean, now that we're at the area where there's all of these spotlights around, caution is one thing, but getting your ass to that wall as quickly as possible is of utmost importance. So they're gonna rush.
Okay, roll it.
All right, which means that.
And I just put Hellfire's danger up to 9. So living on the edge.
Living on the edge. It's 40, 10. Ooh.
So do you have a peripheral for rush?
No, my peripheral is with sneak.
Okay. So unfortunately, you got 0 successes. So I'm going to tell the story. But you did move the progress button by 3 because rush always scores an extra 3. So that's good, at least. Basically, you make a mad dash to get in position to where Liberty is. But that's when the front door opens and somebody is walking, one of the large hounds they have on site. And so you stop dead in your tracks. You're like, oh, and you run exactly back to where you were earlier. Luckily, it goes around the other way around the house. And for whatever reason, probably the wind is working in your favor. It's not smelling anybody yet. But that's sort of what made you hightail it back.
Muttering fucks the whole way back.
Sounds good. All right, who's next? If anybody considers Hellfire a comrade, because they scored 0 successes, that relationship is stoked.
So I'm going to try that plan again, where I look for the best hiding places and the best places to like jump from, to and from. Like we're words are hard. Yeah, I'm going to look around for like the best hiding places to kind of instruct people to go to and hopefully help reduce their danger a little bit.
Cool. Roll it.
And it's 3 successes.
Oh, wow. Was that deny or sneak?
Deny.
Oh, great. So, who do you want to reduce?
Oh.
So, witness hasn't gone yet. I would actually reduce them so they can rush.
Yeah, I'm going to reduce witness's danger.
All right, witness, you've been set up for a success. So, what do you got?
I have been set up for a success, but I could bring everyone down in danger.
So that's dicey. Only because they're going to be jumping back up anyway, but at least they won't jump back up over 10 next turn. So if you want to help out your comrades, go for it.
Yeah. So using the sonic sight, I think what the plan will be is to get up in one of the towers near the door, take out the guard, and then like operate that spotlight for now. No, it's a terrible idea because then when it stops.
Well, why don't you roll your deny first, and then we'll see what it looks like. Nice. Does anybody consider witness to be a rival? No? Okay.
Cool. I also get my relationship stoked with Elatine because reduced danger by 3?
Yes.
Crush.
Oh, that's for when they reduce your exposure by 3.
Yeah, and I reduced witness's danger by 3 last on my turn.
Oh, you did? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's great. Okay, awesome. Good. Well, we can use that next round because you did just roll and you rolled good. But you should definitely use that crush next round to push through big time. Was that everybody this turn? And then Capjack, can you tell your awesome story about how you use Sonic Sight to reduce your comrades, both your comrades' exposure?
So seeing Hellfire's misstep, what Witness does is quickly starts looking around and sees, oh, that's perfect, one of the guards is dozing off. And so what they're going to do is start directing everyone the direction of the dozing guard that's kind of more stuttery with their spotlight. And like directing everyone, okay, this is where we're going to be. And from here, it's go time to that door.
Awesome. So it's going to be the next round and hopefully the final round. And if I can give advice to end this one quickly, since whoever has a relationship stoked, how many people do have a relationship ready to go?
Could be 2 of us, right? Witness has one, and didn't you save yours, Hellfire?
Oh yeah, I didn't use that one when it was invoked by Liberty.
You couldn't use it now. So what I would suggest is somebody actually uses a relationship to rush, and that's going to put them over 10, but then maybe have somebody else use a relationship to knock them back down.
I rushed last time and I failed.
Well, if you use your relationship, you get an automatic 8 on the dial, which would give you 2 you could move 2 of the blue dots.
You'd be able to get 2 people forward.
Now that we have the clear path, it would make more sense to do the rush now. Because thanks, witness. So yeah.
Okay, so because you got 5 successes, there's no roll. Just narrate how that relationship assisted you in giving you the motivation or the creativity to be awesome, and then tell me what 2 people you want to move forward. And I would suggest leaving yourself, because you can actually survive without them.
So remembering Liberty's misstep and going, of course, we would both misstep, and taking that to rush, seeing that clear path of waving the other 2 to just get to where Liberty is, and would then, when able to, follow. So just go, 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 go.
Okay, the others have gotten to place. I'm going to end the scene, and not on a losing term, even though it says you're over 10. The reason I'm doing that is, one, we're going to use a simple mechanic called rebooting. And that is, anytime somebody ends a turn at 10, and they're a receiver, not a partisan, they can do something called rebooting, which is basically like magically coming to life like the Terminator, but also like reducing their danger down to 0. And what that's going to mean is the next scene we have, which we're going to do after like a 3-minute break, you're just in slightly more danger if you end a scene at 10 because you can't reboot again. And I'm just doing that for the purposes of like illustrating anybody who's watching. The other reason I'm not going to make your character just sit here and roll more is your character has that thing where they both reduce their own danger and make progress. So you're going to make it through just fine. Like, there's no point in just sitting you watch roll. So yeah. Before we take a 3-minute bio break, the team is now positioned inside the building. You're looking inside, and basically your reward is, instead of taking on approximately 30 militia people, because everybody is roused from their bunks and ready to fight and defend this facility, you're going to take on 7 people. And I'll explain what they look like and where they are before you start kicking in doors and winning. But let's be back in 3 minutes. So this scene is going to be quicker for two reasons. One, we're going to be really meticulous about selecting our tactic and rolling, and then talking about what we're going to do instead of maybe declaring our intent. That was really good for like learning, but now we're going to be rolling the dice and just pivoting off of whatever the dice tell us and then telling the story that way. Two, you're going to find out that your team is a bunch of killing machines very quickly. And three, we're coming on time. I mean, we got about a half hour left, so we got to like make it go quick. So if you do see me rush a little bit, that's kind of what's going on. So that being said, I'm going to switch the Roll20 sheet to a scene of combat. Let me know when you can all see it.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay, if you look at top, that is your danger. If you end a turn at 10, you either die, if you're a partisan, because partisans don't come back to life like Terminators. They just die. If you're a receiver, you can reboot if you didn't reboot last round and come back to life like the Terminator, like shrug off the bullets, be like, no, and keep fighting. You can only do that once, though. If you look below, we're going to track these hits against these infantry guys. You see there's blue dots. Those are some of the militia guys. And they're all going to be shooting assault rifles at you as we start this firefight. And then there's one heavy guy. We're going to say he's the boss. He's like the bodyguard of Earl Brady. He is wearing heavy armor and he's shooting a machine gun. So the machine gun lets him attack two people. And also he can only be harmed if someone uses a heavy weapon or a receiver subroutine. So here we go. Here's how it's going to look. I have 6 dudes that are going to shoot at you for 3 points each. So let's move these around. Who are the receivers again? Witness and Hellfire? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put extra sauce on them with the two extra. And then the machine gunner, he's going to focus fire on them too because they're terrifying. Yeah. Wait, Witness, weren't you a partisan or no?
No.
Okay. Cool. So if you see what I did there, I just added a ton of danger to you. You now can see how scary this fighting force is. It's a bunch of people. And in terms of narrative, what it looks like is you have basically breached the windows, kicked in the doors. You kind of created not a crossfire because that's how people actually end up accidentally shooting their allies. But you created this pincher of you're just like, you know, you see these guys are armed and ready to go and you're starting to light up the place. They're firing back. They're shooting. They're blowing holes through the wall. The windows are shattered. There's tracers flying everywhere. There's shell casings raining from everybody's guns. They're tipping over tables to take cover. They're screaming. They're panicking. And now it is your turn to act.
It's all right. Is the signal up?
Signal is not up. We need to ignite the signal in order to receive it.
Ew. Okay.
And all you have to do to ignite the signal is say, I ignite the signal. And then, you know, narratively, you radio to one of your comrades and say, get the signal up.
Oh, that's perfect. Witness has a radio with them as one of their peripherals. Be perfect.
All right. So you narratively do that, but then you still get to act if you want. So it's all good. The signal will be on next turn.
Next turn. Okay. In that case, I think it's going to be, let's do some rolls for suppression to just stop them shooting us. Or make it so it'll be harder.
3 successes. Do you have a combat library?
Yes.
So what is it?
The Christian Service Brigade training.
There you go. You know how these guys operate because you used to train with these idiots. So you got 4 successes. Do you happen to have a suppression-related blade?
Blade, yes. Aegis Eyes. Oh, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, that allows him to see the visual telemetry in a firefight. So past, current, future vectors of projectiles and moving bodies.
Awesome. So tell me what 2 allies you're reducing by 4 danger and then narrate it for me awesomely.
Yeah, it's going to be Witness and Hellfire.
You can't do yourself.
Oh, can't do myself. In that case, Hellfire and Liberty.
All right, tell it.
So we kick in the door, and immediately we're met with this hail of bullets. And, oh, fuck, ow. All right, fine. Is that how you want to play it? Reaches the radio up. Get on the signal. And drops that and starts sweeping around, looking and being like, all right, squad, Liberty, flank left, Hellfire, flank right. Let's see. And Elliot, forward, behind the table. Everybody in position. Just calling out, commands and getting everybody set up for the next round of suppression fire.
Awesome. Who's next?
I'll jump in. Now that I have been reduced all the way, I'm going to storm as Liberty shouts back, flank! Fuck these operator playboys. Okay, one success, but Liberty does have a combat library. She was part of the Hudson Valley Minutemen. So that's actually 2 successes. Total of 5. And
throw on some training?
Oh.
Yeah, let's throw on some training. We're feeling...
Also, Witness is your inspiration, and I used the library.
Oh, shit, you did. You know what? I'll save it. I'll save it for next round. But inspiration is stoked and ready to go. Because I already got the 5 successes here from the storm tactic. I'm okay with that. Let's throw on some training. Liberty will use her athletic training, actually. And as these guys are flipping over tables, she aggressively runs in and literally puts boot to one of the tables and shoves it back against them and then hoses it down with her M16, just riddling the thing and tearing apart the wood and sending splinters and blood everywhere.
Okay, you notice that I put one of the victory points towards one of the dudes. So each of the dudes takes 2 hits, and we take them out of the fight. Okay, who's next?
I'll go next. Do the relationships reset after each scene?
They don't. The relationships reset during downtime, where you actually talk about your relationship with another character, and we won't have time to do that, sadly.
That's fine.
But, yep.
So I am going to roll some dice.
And what tactic?
Using suppress.
Okay, so you got 1 success. Is there anything you can add to that? Do you have Aegis eyes or anything? Okay. So who do you want to apply that 1 success to?
Hellfire.
Okay. So you know that Hellfire is going to go down to 0 next turn because the signal's ignited. So I would put it towards...
I didn't know that. Yeah.
That's okay. Put it towards Liberty?
Yeah. Put it towards Liberty.
Cool. Okay. So it's kind of a weak narration, but go ahead and narrate it. What are you doing?
So... Elliot sees that Witness is pointing out where people need to be. She sees that Liberty is just going ham with machine gun. And so she just kind of gently grabs Hellfire and is or rather she grabs she grabs a chair and kind of throws it across the room to kind of distract the guards a little bit as they're being gunned down. Just add a little bit more chaos into it.
Okay, sounds good. And then the downside, so if you only get 1 success, there's always a downside. I'll just quickly say you were also using that chair for cover. So, but that's okay.
That's a problem.
Who's next?
I think I'm the last to go this round.
Okay, so make a roll and let us know what you're doing.
So... Oh, snap. she is built for punching. So she's going to kind of follow Witness's guidance to head to the right flank, but is going to immediately get all up in the face of that guy. So I guess that would be Storm. She's going to storm at him. So that's 5 and 10.
That's 2.
I also have a peripheral since she's a combat person. She has brass knuckles. She also has a library for combat.
Yep, you didn't roll a 10 or a 1, so they don't apply, but you can incorporate your brass knuckles into your narrative if you really want to punch one of these fascists. But since you got 5 points, you actually do get another victory point. So if you want to tell your story about finishing off the one guy who was already injured.
All right, so she heads off to the right to kind of follow Witness's directions and gets right up in there. It's really hard to use long-range guns in close quarters, so it's really easy to get her fists in there and knock him out. Some gut punches and then one right hook to the face.
Awesome.
Down.
So some militia teeth roll across the floor like chiclets. And is that everybody this round?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so first things first, our receivers, the signal is on. So they suddenly feel this incredible burst of energy. The seams in their flesh start to like separate as the metal panels separate and like glow blue, overwhelming energy and power. Their danger is now down to 0. And now I start the round by adding the stuff that the bad guys are going to do. Now, one of them's taken out, so that's good. So I'm going to have 5 guys attack. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One's going to shoot at the partisans because they realize they can't take out the receiver. Another is going to shoot at the other partisan. And then the machine gunner is going to focus their fire on the 2 receivers that are terrifying. It is now your team's turn. And now if you're a receiver, you can unleash those subroutines, which means you can just add, 3 successes to anything you do, and like tell an awesome superheroic story when you're doing it. So it is now your turn, folks.
Yes. I'm going to jump in real quick just because Liberty has that inspiration with Witness stoked.
Yeah.
And I'm going to apply that to a flank tactic because Liberty has hit and run as training. Her flank tactic reduces her danger by 1 per success. So her danger immediately drops by 5 as well, as she is just suddenly dumbstruck in awe at seeing the signal come to life, and our receivers literally glow with power. And using that, she calls out, "Signals up, give him hell!" And uses the cover of the table that she kicked over to sneak around a bit of the firefight, and use her suppressed M16 to start just picking off whatever she sees moving that is not looking like a resistance fighter or a cybernetic vanguard.
Okay, so another infantry is injured. So who's next? Take it away.
So Witness, still holding the radio to his mouth, smiles straight at that machine gunner and uses transistor whispers and says, "Turn your gun on your friend."
No. Okay, roll it. Roll it. Oh my God. Okay, so do you have a peripheral?
Yeah, the radio.
Is that for what? First of all, what tactic is this? Rush or what is it?
I'm going to use regroup on it.
So your regroup is 5 dice.
Yeah.
Okay, so the regroup is going to be. So it looks like you got 2 successes, but you're adding 3 to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to reduce you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Go ahead and narrate how the reason that your danger is gone down significantly and the reason they're not shooting at you as much anymore is because there's somebody else shooting at them.
Yep. So, with that smile on his face, just, the ecstatic crackle takes over his voice. Turn your gun on your friends.
It's so horrible when you say that, but I get it.
I love it.
And this guy is just like, oh, that sounds like the best idea ever. And just tilts down and just starts unloading on the backs of his former friends at this point, as they're all like, oh, fuck, we're screwed. And, now suddenly distracted by gunshots coming from behind them.
Awesome. So who's next?
I'll go. So Hellfire is grinning as she stares at all the blue light glowing on her skin and is just like, let's raise some hell. And she's going to use the subroutine slow motion.
Cool.
To weave around stuff. And I'm going to, I guess, either rush or storm. Does it matter which one?
I would say neither. You don't want to storm. You want to use flank because you'd be in danger next round. Yeah. So I would use flank.
Yes, that makes more sense.
Ooh. Oh no.
Oh.
Ooh.
Now, since you're using your power, you can spend 4 fatigue to pull yourself out of that fail state and still gain 2 successes if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And if anyone is a comrade with Hellfire, now's the time.
Yep. And so I'll narrate it for you because you got -1 success. But basically, you stumble, and because you're like engaging these folks in melee, you're in real danger at one point because you stumble and they're about to shoot at you. But then time sort of stops for a second, and you like blur out of the way, and they light up the floor. So not the end of the world, and you got a little bit of progress on getting closer to them, which they're not going to like next turn. So who's next?
Me, I guess I'm the last one left. I'm going to try to use regroup, which is not my best skill. Oh, hey. I do have a peripheral.
Nice.
Okay, I'm not muted. I do have a peripheral, so that is 4 successes?
Yes. Do you want to add a talent to that to make it even more?
Yes. If I can use I can use lucky.
Yeah, that's
lucky
good enough.
Talent to use.
All right. So tell it and probably incorporate somebody's gun jamming right about as they're about to neutralize you.
So my peripheral is a megaphone. So I'm going to pull that out and just adding more chaos to this battle. Just start yelling, give it up, you've lost. Right as, there's the gun that jams over there. Oh, God. And then I'm just going to, dive behind a table before, anyone notices that I'm the one with the megaphone. So they're all just like, what the hell? Where did that come from?
Good enough. All right. I'm going to increase everybody's score. Five, and then the machine gunner. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's everybody's turn. I'm going to do everybody's solid here. So when you're playing the larger game, you actually can have your allies help you. And this would be a great opportunity to use them. Specifically, the faction called the Old Men, although they can be called whatever you want depending on what you're playing. But these are basically armed partisans of the resistance who are helping you in your moment of need. So what I'm going to let you do is spend 3 points. You can either use those 3 points to reduce everyone's danger by 3, or use those 3 points to add 4 victory points against the bad guys, which would take out 2 dudes total. So as a team, let's do this democratically. How do you want to use them?
Take them out.
Yeah, I say take them out. If we reduce danger, that helps us a lot in the long run.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are some other partisans who have showed up, or maybe even some defectors inside this compound that have came up and they see the score and they've turned on their former comrades. But yeah, now there's 2 more guys neutralized. It is now your turn. Take it away.
Okay. Liberty will actually step up to the plate and just flip the switch on her M16 to put it to full auto, and she's going to suppress to try and reduce some danger here. So let's see how that pans out.
Oh,
you have a peripheral.
Good.
I do. Yeah. Valerie is packing extended mags. She can shoot for days with this thing.
Okay.
So,
didn't you want to use your relationship or something? Your inspiration, or use that last time?
I used it last time.
Okay.
I used it last time and nobody triggered this time. But we'll throw a talent in again. Liberty is bold, and so forsaking herself and her own cover, she'll shove her cover aside to stand up and basically go like, "Come at me, you fascist fucks," and just unload everything she can into the room away from our own receivers and our partisans. And she actually even has Overwatch as training. So she will reduce both Hellfire and Elliot by 5 with the tactic. Yes.
4.
4. Yes.
Nice. You got some heavy cover fire that brought you 2 down. Who's next?
So Witness, now that there's chaos reigning, is going to pull out his trusty pair of bolt cutters.
Oh God.
Going to rush up on, is going to flank up on them using fast forward. So, all right.
Combat library?
Yeah. I mean, well, it's the combat one. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you got a total of 7 successes against your enemy here. Let me turn the dial, see how many. That's 2. You actually just straight out took out another dude. By the way, we have 5 going on 4 minutes now. We might not finish the scene, but you're getting the point of where it's going.
Yeah.
So go ahead and narrate, Capjack.
So yeah, he puts the radio away, pulls out a pair of bolt cutters, which probably makes people with guns go, "What the hell?" And then suddenly is right next to somebody and just cracks them right across the face with a big, heavy pair of bolt cutters, and just, good night, fascist.
And how did your power help out?
Fast forward is blinked right over there with the fast forward was the quick movement.
Oh, okay. I think fast forward is the one where you predict the future, actually, because you're fast forwarding the VCR to see where it goes and then rewinding. So, yeah.
Yeah, in that case, just like striding across, just walking through where bullets should be hitting him but aren't.
Okay.
No,
awesome.
Scare the shit out of him.
All right, who's next?
I'll go next. So Elliot is like looking around, is like, well, now is the time to be a hero. I'm going to use Storm.
Yeah.
Oh, I do not have a peripheral or a library for that.
That's okay. You got 1 success, which is 4 points. Would you like to add a talent to that to push it to another guy?
I have a training, Shock and Awe, which gives twice the successes for giving a foe danger. And
holy shit.
I also am going to use the Killer Instinct talent.
Okay, so you just got a total of 4 more. So you definitely injured another guy. So go ahead and tell the story about your killer instinct, your rushing, and all this stuff.
Yeah, so Elliot is just going to pop out from behind the table, and just the nearest guy she sees is just going to just look at him with this cold, almost dead stare and vault over the table and just rear back and punch him right in the face.
And speaking of punch, probably the last turn of our session, unfortunately. Hellfire, bring us home on this one. We have 2 minutes left.
All right. So I'm going to use flank again. So I'm going to roll for that right now. 40, 10 plus 20. And I'm going to use the inspiration from witness that I've had because of them using a library.
Oh, then you don't have to roll. You got 5 successes automatically.
All right. So
do you want to add a power?
Yes. I'm going to use Wrecking Ball.
Oh, yes.
And I'm just going to grab the nearest, largest thing. If there's like a column in this room, I am tearing that thing out to whip it across the room and take out as many guys as I can as I whip it across the room. Just
you
destroy.
Took out 1.5 in this amazing feat of strength. So sadly, we know where this combat scene is going, right? The militia is totally hosed. There's 1.5 dudes left. So even though your danger is very high, the best I could do is try to kill that person, and then everybody else would be fine. So and you guys would get out of that with cover fire and stuff. Anyway, sadly, that's it. That's sort of Sigmata. We got to give prep time for the other game. Today we saw intrigue. Today we saw evasion and we saw combat, but there's more to the game, obviously, social intrigue and stuff. And remember, folks, continue to support what we're trying to do here with Raíces and border justice and such. Thank you so much, and I'll give it over to Throck.
Hey, thank you. This was awesome, and I'm really glad I got to see a part of it as well. That's right. We are raising money for Raíces, Texas, who are on the front lines of immigration and refugee justice in Texas, doing things like getting people out of detention centers, reuniting families, making sure children have legal protection, and all the other things we need to do to fight the fucked up administration who has decided to consistently screw human beings for whatever the hell fucking reason that is not logical. And I don't even know why. Anyways, so we're going to be switching over to our Star Trek game here starting in about 15 to 20 minutes. But before we do, I get to start a new giveaway as I turn off my 8 hours of producing for you all. This final giveaway of my shift will be 5 things. Those 5 things will be a $20 Modifius gift certificate, a surprise dice and sticker mailer from So Nerdware, a $25 digital prize pack from Evil Hat, a soap bundle from Michi Store Monster and Mayhem Soap, and the biggie for this giveaway is an ultimate license to Fantasy Ground, which is $149 value. Ooh, So what you have to do is type !Thash Bash into chat, and you will be signed up for one of these 5 amazing prizes. And with that, we are going to go into break. As we get the new team set up, you will probably see the stream stop and it'll come back on because we're switching producers. So if it doesn't come back on, just refresh your stream and you'll be good to go. We love you so much. Thank you, Chad, for coming on and doing this. If you didn't know, Chad is the author of Sigmata and is an amazing guy who has an amazing Discord community of his own. So you should go check that out as well. And with that, we're going to go on break. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.